Now entering. Ready for battle.
Alright, so we're just gonna look really quickly. I think what I'm gonna do is just look at a couple different starting, starts to matches. I think that'll be probably the best way to do this after doing this for a second. Just to reiterate, three things that teams really seem to forget or don't understand, or concepts that they overlook. Your main tank is built to literally protect the heart of your team, to give you a strong and should be placed in a strong position, a position of strength. Uh, your off tank is meant to do the objective work, or at least to start doing the objective work, to contest, to be the first person to contest the point, to be the one to move the payload and all that kind of stuff, to contest the payload, etc. And the third thing that people seem to forget that should apply in this is that you you take the structure, whether it's a capture the hill or a payload or whatever. You take the area, the checkpoint that you're fighting within, and you take a solid team fight in that area before even looking at the objective. You know, before even giving it focus, full attention, or any of that kind of stuff. You want to win a solid team fight first. A lot of times people just go right to the objective and then try to win a fight, go right to the payload and then try to win a fight. You're putting yourself in such poor positioning that you should never technically win from that spot. If you ever win a fight from that, it's because the enemy team did they put themselves in such poor positioning as well that it ended up working out for you. But at the start of this match, I'd really like to have my Zenyatta not out here in the middle, in the open. Mei could even play up here with us too, and obviously the McCree and the Moira. Moira is a little bit more mobile, but again, if she drops down off this high ground, she won't be able to get back up as easily. So it's about utilizing this positioning to really do some stuff. The Mei wall, a lot of people throw it down on this wall here, but the truth is that if the enemy team is wise, the best route that they're going to take is right here, and then go up and come around, and then they can. This is where you'd slow down for a little bit, try to get some lay of the land per se, and just like see what they're going to do. If our Mei tried to Mei wall here, it's really not that effective because you can just hop around and go around it, you know. So that's why you would take this route as an aggressive team, because then you'd come up here, you go here. Now you put yourself in a strong spot. You've advanced close, a better angle, better line of sight, safer positioning. You utilize your shield more. You're up off the floor, and you can start to make some plays from here. On the offensive team, your off tank can maybe touch the point to start to force some things to start happening, and you just start firing down this line of sight, and maybe take control over this house, and start to do some things and start pressuring this way. And here it's really about what you get and what you can whittle inwards, and there's a lot of different. It really splits off from here, but that's the basic starting point. And that's another reason why your Mei should not play up by the door, is because how easily avoidable it is and basically useless. Like, she puts the Mei wall, the enemy team can just go around it if they want to get to the person that's separated it off, or whatever is going on, and then Mei is stuck all the way out here, just in the wide open, from angles from potential Widowmaker to the whole potential team. There's just no reason to be down here on the floor, especially at the start of a round, and even as a Mei or any of that kind of stuff. Where Mei is going to be valuable would be to put a wall here to block them from advancing down this tunnel, or stopping them from coming up this way, or putting a wall on the floor so that you can go aggressive at them. That's where her Mei walls are going to gain value. Or another potential one would be to, if numerous members of the enemy team decide to drop onto the point, she can put a Mei wall right here going this direction, so that, and then that way you can leave Hamster on the point, like right here, and they can't cap, which enables us to move into another location to get better angles, whether it's that window over here or slide over this way. We can then surround the number of people that are on the point. That's how you want to use Mei wall for that kind of stuff, and not for the way that you typically see it, because Another common misconception that goes on is that this is considered a choke point. It's not a choke point. You can literally just walk right past it. You have angles that can snipe right onto it. It's like the visual representation of a choke, but is by definition nowhere near a choke point. And that's a common misconception. The topics that we just touched are largely things that people just go way right over their heads when they play Overwatch. So if you want to pause the video, rewind, listen to it all the way up to here, because those are some really extremely important things. From here, we're just going to kind of watch it and just keep in mind that I really wanted my team with me, and you can see why and how, and just like they're just up out of the chaos that is going on. And so I started here. This shield's actually a little off because missing the angle there for anyone that rotate over. But I'm not even a huge fan of starting there. I would prefer to start even just here. It's just stronger. It's safer. You know, you get the line of sight on anyone that's on that. You don't lose anyone on rotating back, and it's just you're just there to play defense. So we're gonna watch it from this POV from here, but the McCree is out there getting damage. And you can just see how split up and like there's just so much stuff going on. Even I'm gonna pause it here because I just feel like someone's gonna be like, "Well, your shield should be on the point." Even if I put my shield on the point here, there is a Doomfist, there is an Ashe, there is a Winston. Like the amount of ways that they can just get around that shield if it's here on the low ground is extremely high. Not to mention that leaves you as your only safety net is something that can be destroyed, and you'd have to kind of like cover everyone cower in on it. That's like you're putting too much value. That shield is good, but it's not that good. It's not going to stop all this incoming damage. Not to mention that they have a weird composition with 3 DPS and a Genji and a Hanzo. So 1, between the burst damage that they have, 2, between the angles that they're going to be able to obtain. Just being on this floor is just going to be utter chaos and not healthy if you really want to hold for 3 minutes and 33 seconds and completely stop their first round right here, you know? So just I don't know. I'll show you how this plays out just to have it down for recording, but that's pretty much. And see how we were able to get that nice clean kill there. McCree pushed out, and there's just no point for him to do that. If he had just stayed right here when those players land, you know, 1, he has a shield to play behind. 2, I can help him burst them down, and 3, we can still defend the point while dealing damage on somebody else with that, and being able to quickly get back and look at what's going on over here. And you can just swing between these two things so easily. Having a healer up here would enable a lot, and especially we had a Zenyatta, like a monkey lands there, and we would just melt whoever tried to solo push us like that. So able to help and assist, get the Mei, gets a kill. McCree went from here and has now found himself all the way out here fighting in this. This is just this is the type of mess that I'm talking about. It doesn't make any type of sense. There's no reason for you to be this far out. There's so many different things happening and easy ways for you to just get picked off completely. I don't know. It's just, I think that my point is already illustrated, and this is just going to be kind of a mess to watch, but their ability to stay alive in this little choke thing in here, they're just getting hit from multiple different angles and pushed really, it's just not strong, you know? Like there's all I had to do was take 2 steps to the left and 2 steps to the right, and I'm good, you know? And they can do the same thing. They're just choosing not to. It's just that's one of the things. At that point, I realized like, okay, we're not going to be able to hold this if they push in, and I didn't want them to think that I am not trying to help them or that I'm throwing or any of that kind of stuff. I'm just trying to play the game. Like, I'm really, you know what I mean? And this is just the team that I have to work with to play a 6-on-6 team game. Like this, so I saw that the enemy team had us locked into a position where they could actually just cap the point if they pushed through. If Monkey dived in and the rest of them pushed in, me being up there on the high ground wouldn't be enough to save them. So I tried to make a move onto the point to make my teammates happy or to help them feel better about themselves. But I ended up just getting sniped in the rotation. Like, one, I had half health, no heals. Two, it's just not a smart rotation to make in the first place. But I don't know. I was at that point I was out of options. They were going to cap the point in the next like 10 to 15 seconds if I didn't do that anyways, just based on my healers and like so many immobile DPS and heals and everything just stuck on the floor, stuck in this place, and the amount that the enemy team had spread out and had like how much real estate they had already owned, with my team having no viable way out, so I could have stayed here, but it's not like they're a Mercy. It's not like they could just fly to me. It's not like they're a Genji. They could just dash out or anything. There's nothing to really get them out. So, you know. Anyways, I feel like that's really all you need to see for this. Unless you want to look at the offensive, that would actually be something. This just kind of goes in. They just get like they get the Winston here, but the huge Anonade coming in. The enemy team's focus is like really bad. The fact that they didn't die is crazy. I think Widow spent a lot of time sniping on her angle. She could have even slid over more. Like when I often see stuff like that, I'd probably be all the way over this way. Now I'm really wishing, looking at this, that I just didn't push out onto the point and just stayed where I was, because we would have actually held a little bit more. But one of the things I do really want to look at is the offense. All right, so yeah, let me rewind 20 seconds or so. All right, here we go. This is the offensive round. This is the flip side when I'm on main tank here.
5, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend.
The enemy team's trying to do the standard like setup that I don't think is very strong. Let's just pause it here. Look at how much freaking damage they took just walking in. Not to mention they just landed on a Doomfist. I mean, it's fine because we survived, but that kid literally almost died. I don't know how to go back just a little bit. Like that was really close. If they had anyone up here on this angle, like they probably could have taken out the kill, but they didn't have that. So one thing to be noted is the route that I'm taking takes a few extra seconds at the start of the game, but you are safe, and that is what is most valuable. Like dying in the first few seconds or losing a player in the first few seconds is way worse than just adding a little bit more time to your time to make a really clean take, because when you reach the next section of being able to actually take the point and do all that stuff, it goes way faster and way smoother than if you were just doing it here. So you make up the time that you end up spending on the rotation. So they're able to hold in, which is just nice. But here's where I've already gotten to this angle, and I'm not necessarily doing a whole lot of damage, but I am showing the team like, hey, if you stay where you are, I'm going to continue to hit you, And so that immediately forces them to have to move and rotate around, and that's a topic that I've wanted to get into too. Is just by standing in certain locations, you are basically having that conversation with the enemy team of like, you need to respect me, or I'm going to take somebody out, or I'm going to punish you for it, And even just by doing that, you can see that their setup here, it went from shifting out to being out in this location and really pressuring out this way to sliding into this little corner. And that is the start of their team crumbling to pieces. Because if essentially the idea is that you can pressure from where I am, and then depending on your composition, I don't know, you have a Widowmaker or a Diva or something like that, and you slide and you just keep sliding out this way, and you don't even really go for the point, and you just keep pressuring into this corner and above and behind them until they have nothing left, and you just take it all away from them, and then you take the point. So that's like the start of that. Obviously, I don't have anyone on my team with it. They're deciding to go through this low ground wraparound thing. It can work, but if you're the enemy team and you recognize this, the best thing that you can do to get out of this type of situation is just a hardcore commit to these two players, because these guys are really far out of position, and just take them out. Your DPS, everyone should turn, and your Orisa should just focus on getting a decent shield to block any damage from where we are, and the rest of the team should just turn and delete these two or three, because they don't have they're two healers and a tank, no DPS behind it. So, and the McCree is dead. So that's where that goes, But we really should have the healer up here with and at this point, like McCree can take a couple shots. We could have a Lucio here. Lucio works with McCree to rotate him in and get him up and already over here, and just start the whole process of which I just explained. So we'll go ahead and continue watching this out. But it was nice to be able to kind of get that in the theater system and talk about it, and now and stuff like that. So that was really nice. I'm glad I'm getting able to hit some of these points, because I think they're very helpful to see. Trying to put pressure onto the Widow. The reason why it's difficult to advance too is because our team is so split up, like I was saying, where it's kind of just stuck here until the next thing. But the pressure is very obvious. We're getting, like, just from standing here, you're forcing them to react in ways that aren't good. I mean, look at this Anna. She is just out there. Like that is what you want. See, hog touching point is like a good idea in concept, but the thing is, all that we've done so far is set up our push. We haven't actually applied the pressure yet, because of the location of our other teammates. We're just waiting on them. So you kind of are just sitting here waiting for them to come to us, and then we can apply our pressure, and then once the pressure is applied, then you can start to work towards the point, But because we haven't done that yet, we're just sitting here waiting for the next step, and so that's why him stepping on point ends up netting on nothing, because they're still all alive and are fine. This is really neat. The Doomfist just got like wrecked out of the air. Let's go back a few. We'll go back to here, and we've been spending a lot of time here. I'll show you from my POV, just because I think I'm able to recognize this Doomfist on the right-hand side here. I don't know if I think I have to reload soon. But I'm able to get a lot of damage, and then he just taps him once and it falls over. I put the shield on the point there because my team is already on there trying to take it. But this is just kind of a little bit more of that rotation that I'm talking about, it coming into effect. And what's really neat is that I'm already here to give this guy a shield. How often do you ever see an Orisa right there ready to assist your Widowmaker? In this, if you rewind maybe 3 seconds or so, it's kind of hard. In game always feels like it's way more time than it actually is. But I'm already ready to go ahead and rotate on and move on to the next thing. Like right here. Put this down. See what's here. She gets that pick. Now we move. Like, she can try and get a shot on the Orisa, but truthfully, it's not worth it. It's better to go ahead and rotate ahead of time. She got that clean pick, and don't waste time killing the Orisa there, because this is some next level stuff that's actually really neat. So your options right here. You get the pick onto the Ashe. You can charge up another shot and shoot the try to shoot the Orisa in the face. You can hit that shot, deal a decent amount of damage, but you're still going to need another one to get the kill. Consider the time that it's taking to do that. And then Number two, what ends up happening in this situation is she's just able to shield herself and reposition the shields to where she doesn't really take any damage. Anna's in the back there healing her up anyways. So what you do is after you pick the Ashe, you start rotating immediately. Like you don't waste any time and you rotate around this high ground and you start just moving in on the next thing. Your next shot is going to be from like right here or even right here. More so right here, but it depends on the timing. Like if you have really gotten ahead of them, this will be just a nice clean shot, or it'll be here. But my point is that you're just moving. You just so I want to move, but if I move and my Widow gets taken out or something happens to her or whatever, then I'm not really doing my job as a main tank as well. So I don't know. I kind of waited for her. I think in looking at the reality of the situation, I just didn't know if a DPS was gonna like poke on her or whatever. But I learned a little something. Like it's just not even worth the time, you know. If I feel I should move, then I should just move. It's just more valuable too, because I could have killed this Anna by myself. But you can start to see the rotation, and you just start sliding around this way. And I mean, look, they're just stuck down there on the floor, and you can just pressure them out. Once you get here, it's actually really fun because you can stop them from this really long line of sight, from even really advancing in the first place to even get anywhere near the cart in a sense. So it's just cool. This is really neat stuff. I love getting to get those rotations and get those staggers. That's when Widowmaker to me becomes really fun. I was trying to pull the Anna over, but I didn't end up getting her. Here I'm like, okay, yeah, we just need to go. We're just wasting time. As you can see though, like, let's take a look. I want to know where. Yeah, see, our Widow is still here. You know, there's nothing there anymore. As Widowmaker, you want to make moves like that, pretty consistently on these offensive payload maps and stuff like that. It's just you get a pick, you move to the next pick. You get a pick there, you move to the next one. You just keep advancing until you pretty much can't go any further. Right now, I'm not really dealing any damage to these players, but what I am doing is taking their attention and forcing them to not really be able to advance outwards, so the card is moving during this time period. Oh well, we didn't even have the objective yet, but we should have had it a long time ago. All this pressure was kind of wasted because we didn't have the objective. Like, so we just kind of need to do it again. This was a little annoying, but it didn't really bother me too much. I was just asking for heals for a long time. They're taking forever on a fight over there. This guy ends up dying anyways. If he had just came and healed me, he would have had a lot more valuable as a unit, as a player on the map. I don't blame Moira. She's moving the cart right now. I don't blame her for getting off the thing. But if I was the Moira player and I saw this, what I would do is shift forward, shoot the healing orb, and then walk back to the cart, or walk forward, shoot the healing orb, then shift back to the cart, depending on the spacing or whatever. But leaving your main tank up here with half health for as long as I was, and the fact that she shot a healing orb in there for like no reason, you know. Just get into position. And I'm trying to get as much heals off this as possible because I just don't think I'm gonna get heals afterwards. Now this is something that's pretty wild and really fun, but also really neat. Again, you can have more people up here on the high ground. The whole goal of this is for me not to be alone. Like, that's the whole purpose. So if you're looking at this and like you're alone as Rissa, it's like, yeah, I know it would be nice to have a team. But you know, and then you could just have like Roadhog moving the cart by himself. It would be really nice. or even in some cases Widowmaker moving it because she can jump off, and you can trade on and off. You can just pass it off to Hog when it gets to a closer checkpoint, like closer line of sight here, or too tight. You know, you just pass off to the off tank, and then she rotates up. So there's like nice rotational things like that you can do that are just really heads up plays. But I want you to see this from this POV because this is I think this will be a good one. You can just watch the amount of pressure that gets relieved from our team here, just as this goes down. So they've got this low ground setup, and which is something that I talk about all the time. I think there's a Brigitte down here. But just watch what happens. It's not really the damage I'm getting; it's the attention that I'm taking, and the way that they have to respect the positioning that I now have on them. And that was one of the topics that we talked about earlier. But just check out what happens here.
Cease your resistance.
So look at how much space just was instantaneously created just by me being there and doing that. The cart now can move freely through this location, and we've set ourselves up to where they are spread out, staggered, and we can just pick off what we want, you know? And it's really great. If I'm the enemy Widowmaker and I'm looking for a shot, what I do is I grapple to here, because this is the end. This is where that choke point comes to meets to an apex. Is where it all the angles funnel in, and you can see it. She can block this angle if she needs to. She can hit the Brigitte here if she needs to help somebody, but mainly her focus. I mean, this Ana would be a difficult shot because it's straight underneath. But like sniping, using this shield, killing the Widowmaker would be a first pick. Picking off the Ashe, then turning just a little bit to the left, picking off the McCree, killing the Brigitte, then hitting the Ana, and you could literally wipe out the whole entire team. So that's just how you'd want to play that out, rather than stand still, look for this angle here, because you get it's a lot larger of a power play, you know. And that Ana's not really stopping us from moving the cart, but the people that can are going to be those damage dealers. So you want to get them out first in this situation. Mainly because you have the ability to delete them off the map with one shot. So that's pretty neat. I don't know. Hopefully you guys enjoy that. That to me is probably the most exciting point of all the stuff that we've been talking about so far on this map, because to me it really visually iterates exactly all the stuff that we were talking about, and just the strength of getting up off the floor and putting yourself into a position, and what one solo tank can do. Can you imagine the strength that you have as a unit? It's incredible. You can just walk right through these games like nothing. I don't have any heals up here, you know, so I'm forced to just kind of back into the team. See how the enemy, like they eventually got to her and pressured her. Taking the play that I was discussing earlier, it would prevent that from happening. It would also coincide with the pressure that I just laid down and really like hit pretty hard. He did a decent job hitting some nice shots there, and whatnot, but he ended up going down for it. So, which, as you can see, calls Bob into the point and just prolongs things more and more. Lucio had a good boop to push him off, but my point is, in other scenarios, that not playing that out optimally can allow for the enemy team to stagger in and really just cause all the chaos and the disruption that people get like so upset about 2CP maps for and stuff like that. And let me just say, I really don't mind 2CP. I think that people just don't understand how to play it optimally, and that's where the frustration is really coming in. Is like, oh, we were so close to getting it, and then they just still turned it back, you know, and whatnot. So, but the good boot by Lucio really takes away a lot of the time, and the dominating fashion that we came into that scenario meant that they were going to be really far away. So, it's not bad. Here, we just don't really need to do anything. We're just going to let the payload roll in, and because of when they died, they have to kind of wait and get a full setup. Widowmaker getting a pick on Widowmaker there is really big. That only further justifies our ability to be able to push in here, and but I still want to go ahead and show this because I want you to see what I decided to do here. So we're getting up to this point here, and I can stay on the cart if I feel that we're just kind of steamrolling. But if I feel any type of resistance, what you're gonna watch me do is I'm gonna put a fresh shield down so that anyone else on my team that's trying to stay on the cart has a little bit more survivability. It also allows me to kite outward, and I'm gonna go ahead and rotate up and wait for another shield. Um, and the only reason I'm doing a fresh shield is because that one was low. You can see that that shield gave me time to rotate, gave me time to get out of there, and not exactly. Hold on. We can find a better angle to watch all this to go down. It'll be something like this. And the reason why this is a better angle to watch is really obvious because I can see more people, but it also speaks to the structure of the map. So just so you know, like all these payload maps, they're structured in the shape of a V in terms of angles, and there's one spot on each checkpoint that is objectively stronger than everywhere else, and that's where you want to set up your defense from. Unfortunately, these guys did not get the payload as far as they wanted to, so they don't get to utilize this corner as much as they could. But if you're playing defense here, you play from this corner and you stretch your team outward to about here, or even here, you know, and you put your main tank on this window or this window, and you just that's where you play from. You know, your Widowmaker would sit here or whatever, and you just play to stop the payload, like pretty much like right here. So that it's just yeah. But anyways, so I like if you saw the rest of my team, they kind of like cowered backwards, not really understanding how much strength that we did have, and all that we needed to do was just kind of rotate on up on this way. I'm gonna wait for another shield. Lucio decides to group with me. We got some picks during this time from the enemy team, kind of freaking out and trying to like push into something that they didn't really have the choice to push into. So like they just decided to push just to try to get something, you know, and ended up getting them killed. But just watch this Orisa. This Orisa has been hit from 2 different angles with a Roadhog in her face. She just has nowhere left to go. The reason I'm even taking time to talk about this, because most people are gonna be like, it's the end of the game, doesn't matter, you know. The reason I'm taking time to talk about this is because of the positional situation that's happening. Because I've taken the time to do the play that I now have this additional angle onto her and this line of sight that is really forcing her, like, that's accelerating this whole thing to happen quickly because it's leaving her out in an area. If I was sitting here with my shield still on the cart and we were just playing the classic shield war that so many people play, this nano boosted Junkrat has potential to turn the tides, depending on what he hits and how it goes and whatnot. If he gets nano boosted, jumps up here, blows up the Widowmaker, then just like they just start walking around and delete everything, you know, it may cause us to have to reset, and it could cause a scenario where the enemy team could actually full hold and end up winning the game. So there are a bunch of crazy things like that. That is another reason why you don't see me play on the floor, the low ground that a lot of people do, is because it comes down to these random chaotic moments that you really need some stabilizing control to be able to survive, you know? Like if we were all clumped down here, like I said, Junkrat could do really well. Maybe he gets the Moira as well, but by being able to put pressure onto their main tank this quickly, it really decreases the amount of the window that Junkrat has to be effective. So that's why it's like really important, because it makes the team fight move quickly rather than the slow, steady, I'm going to shoot through your Orisa's shield, you're going to shoot through my Orisa's shield, and we're just going to sit here and shoot each other all day, you know? And even if the Roadhog gets behind, it's just the Roadhog hitting him, you know? And here, if Orisa replaces her shield to defend her, I just switch targets, you know? So, you know, maybe I peek out and I just start melting this Ana, like, because I can now. So there's that. I think this game and this video has really been a great one to talk about a lot of things, and we ended up going through a lot of things that I didn't necessarily I didn't know that this one was going to turn out as well as it did, but I think it was a good one. I have another video on YouTube that talks about King's Row specifically and the strategy behind it, and essentially just to explain everything that I explained here. But now with the addition of the replay system, I can go in and talk about this stuff in way more depth and give you guys the perspective and the angles that you really want. So that's pretty neat. I'll just go ahead and play it out. But and I'm already up in their face, ready to just pull somebody backwards and slow them down if they even got out of spawn quickly. You know, like if I heard a hamster come this way, we can see him on the spawn indicator. I could just pull him before he gets any momentum and stop and make his duration to get to the point even longer. The other reason that you do this on this door is like for the same reason that we were talking about before. It's just the area of strength. You take that away from them, they have a much more difficult time. Their only line of sight when they come out this door is really in this direction, which is not strong enough to stop a payload. So it's it's just a lot of stuff. But that pretty much does it for this one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Leave a comment in the comment section, or a like, or more importantly, show this to a friend. Show this to somebody that cares about Overwatch and actually wants to get better. If you know anyone like that, or that kind of stuff. I have an email in the description if anyone were to reach out to like any personal coaching or anything like that. I've been considering doing that. And yeah, so that'll be that. Whew. It's a good one.